Hey YouTube, how you doing? This is Real Talk, and I'm coming to you with a new episode. And in this episode, we are going to talk about Deathrow Records, okay? And some of the stuff that I know, not firsthand, it's more like secondhand, but anyway, we're going to look at Deathrow and some of the stuff that was going on back in those days and all the people that surrounded that company and that record label. So with that, let's get started. Okay, here we go. Deathrow, Welcome to Deathrow was a video that was produced in 2001. And this was right around the time, this was after it was launched in the early 90s. So they were definitely like you know, a heavy hitter back in the day. And then we see like a picture of Suge Knight in the background there. But right around that same time, the heavyweights of that label were Dr. Dre, as you see, they're just former Death Row artists. It was Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg, Tupac Shakur, and it's just a story that depicts everything that was going down. And it was funny how when I was watching it, because I hadn't seen this in a while, as a matter of fact, it was funny how they took the fact that all these brothers was on the street suffering and in poverty, not in poverty, but they were struggling to make it, and they had what these cats didn't have, which was money, and they saw the potential of what they were doing, because I mean, according to this documentary, they were selling stuff straight out of the car trunks. I mean, they were selling stuff straight out of the car trunks. They were getting their money. Record label be damned, they were going to get paid regardless, and they did. I mean, these cats right here were like not playing. They were like, they went and they had a product. They packaged it up, you know, did what they could, and then they processed the product into CDs or tapes at the time, depending on what they were doing. And they was taking it in their trunks and selling them straight from the trunk. Now the record execs at the time, this was way before the internet and YouTube and all that. So at the time, you know, the record execs were like tripping. They were like, "Wow, these bottles right here ain't playing." I mean, they getting record sales, and they didn't have a major distributor, so they were distributing themselves out of car trunks. One inside note: check this out, because a good buddy of mine is in this video somewhere. I'm not gonna tell you who he is, but so I got some. This is what I'm saying, that I got some inside knowledge, you know, to a degree. I'm not all the way in there, but yeah, I got some eyeballs on certain things. But anyway, he was telling me that what Suge and them used to do is they would go and they would get like the people that agreed to distribute the CDs or tapes or whatever at the time, and then they would send their own people to go buy it out. So in essence, they were buying back their own records and tapes, which generated sales for, at the time, it could have been Tower Records. You know, I'm sure of the dudes that are like right around my age, you guys are going to remember there used to be Tower Records and all the record, you know, shops and stuff, because that was way before, you know, CDs and all that stuff that we got now. But, so that was one way of generating sales, which was pretty ingenious, to be honest with you. They would have 10,000 copies, and then they would have people buy those 10,000 copies back. So in essence, they were buying back their own. They were buying back their own stock. And then when the record sales were like booming like that, others saw that it was a hot, you know, item. So needless to say, that the company saw the sales that were going up, so they started promoting it and what have you. And the next thing you know, it caught fire and it kind of went on the remote. But that's how they lit a fire under it. I think that was pretty gnarly. Ice Cube didn't appear in the documentary other than in this photo because he was, he was separate. But Ice Cube was part of this whole thing, but he came later, as we all saw in the Straight Outta Compton movie that was, that came out just recently with his son. I could have sworn that was Cube, but it was his son. But needless to say, these vatos, man. I mean, in, in one interview, okay, check this out. In Eazy-E was at the beginning of it all with Dre, and he saw that Dre was on point. He was able to. He had like that magic touch. So, needless to say, Eazy-E was like a businessman. So he knew the business side of it from because he's from N.W.A. And he was so he was he saw there was money there. So turns out that he wound up getting Dre into like a slave contract, and they weren't paying Dre. And it was funny too because they wind up. I think his name was Jerry Levine or Jerry Levine or one of those. It was a white dude. And once they saw that these brothers was booming and they was making money without the majors, then needless to say, just like I've been saying in some of my other videos, they send their people to you. And in this case, it was just Jerry Vato. He shows up and he gets with Eric or Eazy-E first and cuts Dre to the side and puts him into a slave contract. And he winds him and dines him and what have you. Long story short, because I want you to go check out this documentary. Eazy winds up dying of AIDS, so they got him. So he wind up getting clipped. Okay. Now it was funny how this Vato right here, inside of the video, he goes, "Man, I was there when Dre said it." He goes, "I would sell my soul to the devil for $1 million. I swear to you, the devil must got a receipt for his ass." And this Vato straight said it like firsthand because he was like right there. So, all in all, that's basically what was up. That's why I suspect that's why he had that Midas touch where everything he was touching was going platinum and double platinum, because at some point he must have sold himself out. Now, how he did it or how it came about, who knows? I don't know. Those are things, because everything seems natural. But just look at the label of what it represents. Deathrow. That's a straight negative connotation right there. Anyway, these cats right here were all giving their 2 cents on this documentary of how everything was going down. How Suge didn't know nothing, but he was like heck of intimidating, which is he is. He's a big dude, man. I mean, this dude right here, it had a part where Ice Cube was, but he was not paying certain people for their cash, and he was like not having it. Shook was not having it, and he started off as a bodyguard. He ended up being the CEO of Deathrow because he pretty much strong armed it away from them. All the people that started it, including Dr. Dre. And this is where inside of this article, first he says he didn't dangle him from the hotel balcony. First he said he did, and then later on he recanted a couple of years later. "Oh no, man, that's not what happened." And but it was, and all I know is that the good buddy that I had that's in this video was telling me that man, these dudes was something else, man. It was funny too how they kept sending people, like, because they were scrambling. Okay, here's this author right here, Michael Harris. It turns out that at some point they needed more financing, so this dude right here was a major player on the block. He was like slanging dope. Okay, there we go again. He was at one point struggling, and this is how they play it. He was at one point struggling. They hooked him up, supposedly. He started hustling, slanging the dope, and then he got a nationwide distribution going. So then the main the main drug lord dudes were dealing with him direct. And because you have all that money and that power, you know where that goes. Well, the next thing you know, he's in jail. So they let him build it up. They already knew what he was up to because they're the ones that send him out there to do it. They let him build it up, and when at their choosing, they went and knocked him down and threw him in jail. So now this Vato's in jail. Then he has a lawyer dude named Kenner. I forget what his name is, but his name is Kenner. And then he introduces Kenner to Suge Knight. And then that right there is where they formed the Deathrow Records, but he financed it. I think it was $1.5 million. He put the money to finance Deathrow. And but he said, hey man, when you make up the corporation, I'm gonna be a silent partner, so don't have me on none of the paperwork. Well, needless to say that this Kenner Otto here pictured on the right is a low-life scumbag, that can't be trusted. And I hate to say that on this video because it's going to hit the public, but I'm sorry. I'm just calling it as I see it. Because, long story short, he helped Suge Knight get the company going, get all the artists, blah, blah, blah. They built everything up, and at the end of the day, they pulled the rug out from underneath him because he's a lawyer. And as we all know, Suge Knight went to jail after the Las Vegas thing when they shot Tupac. That he was involved with it, and he knew this, that, and the other, and he was on probation, blah, blah, blah. So they locked him up. So needless to say that this lawyer dude, I think he was part of that setup because he is an officer of the court. Legally, the lawyers are officers of the court, and their first obligation is to the court. It's not to you and me. It's to the court. So it's them versus us type of deal. So, and plus he has a lot of money and a lot of power. So they sent this lawyer out though that I think knew what was going on because the lawyers know all the holes and stuff and the loopholes in the law. They sent him next to Suge, controlling him the whole way, keeping tabs on them. Because the wife says, "Oh, we were best friends and we did everything." That's what I said in the previous videos, that they slip people on the side of you, and they're your friends and they're this and they're that, but all along, they're keeping tabs on you. And they're nice. They buy stuff for you, and you go out and you eat, and then you think it's all, hunky-dory, and it's really not. And last but not least, we have it here where by this time, Pac was already making movies and stuff, and then they wind up getting him on a lot of, he had a lot of cases. They were just steadily messing with him. He gets locked up for damn near a year. I think he said 11 and a half months. And he was looking at 4 years in prison. So he reached out to Suge Knight and them and said, you know what? I ain't really trying to do this time, whoop-de-woo. And that's when we hear about the famous signing of the contract on toilet paper. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't cover, and I'm purposely not covering it because I would rather you go watch the documentary because it's eye-opening. But one thing I can say is simply this. One more thing before I forget. Somewhere in there, I think it was, they were talking about when no one wanted to release the Chronic album, and one of the politicians says, yeah, you're pretty much a good corporate citizen. How can you be a corporate citizen? It's because the United States is a company. And when you're the birth certificate dude and blah, 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 all that stuff, that means you're a part of their corporation. That's what all those rules and regulations pertain to. It's separate from the man, woman, Bible, Constitution stuff. It's separate. Anyway, Tupac was already having a lot of problems. He was a big mouth, and he kept fueling the fire because he was a hothead. He couldn't control himself, and because he couldn't control his words, and he couldn't control what he was saying out in public, he got him in a lot of trouble. Eventually, he signed a slave contract with Suge Knight, which ultimately, we all know what happened. Ultimately, that's what terminated him. All in all, I'm gonna put the link in the description to this video if you guys want to go check it out. A good buddy of mine is in that video, and he told me some inside stuff that I'm not going to reveal here because I really don't think that it's a good idea. You know, I'm heavily censored, and they're watching what I'm saying now, and this stuff is hitting the airwaves publicly, so I got to pay attention. I don't want no slander or defamation stuff coming my way. You know, so all in all, it's funny how this is why I say what I say. How they slip people on the side of you to monitor what you're doing. That's why I like being the loner, because I don't let just anybody get next to me like because they say so. No. I'm gonna let you in there, and then when you're here next to me, I'm gonna be watching you the whole time. I'm gonna be friendly too, but I'm watching you. All I'm gonna say is this: that the Bible is real. And I mean, if you guys can't see what I see, then I don't know. A lot of people, this is off topic, but a lot of people on some of my videos, they come and say, "Yeah, the Bible is evil, and God is evil, and it's a slave book." Yeah, you're right. You're right about it being a servant book, because there's a lot of speaking of servants in the Bible. But let's face it. I mean, if if you're the creator and you create us, man, and then man starts giving, and then he creates man, and then man starts giving lip and don't want to do, you know, and all God wanted us to do is just give him worship and pay attention to him and just listen to what he's saying. He's not trying to hurt nobody, you know. But yet people just want to do whatever they want. That's like you being the parent of your child, your baby. When the baby's born, it's helpless. And then you help it and you nurture it and you feed it and you take care of it, house it, do all that stuff. And then around 16 years old, you start giving lip. And they start blowing you off, and you're not going to be too happy with that. You know, any normal person ain't going to be too happy with that. That's the same thing God feels for us. The Bible is there for our protection, not to hurt us, you know. And yes, there's a lot of things in the Bible that are harsh. That should tell you right there that God ain't playing. I was just reading the Bible, and I was just hearing about a lot of different patches for a different video that I'm going to produce, but I'm going to keep that separate to that video. But yeah, I just noticed that God is not playing. But getting back to the video at hand. Tupac and all of them, I mean, and look at the outcome of Deathrow. At one point in the video, they say that Suge Knight wind up going to jail. Pac is dead. Snoop Dogg and them kind of had to go away. They pretty much had Dre under a slave contract, so he was just steadily getting stiffed because he wasn't really trying to fight nobody. And at the end of the day, all of them were disbanded, and the powers that be, the people they sent in there, kept all the money and had all the power, which was that Kenner, that Illuminati vato. Because it turns out that he was in a fraternal right there. Now, when you look at the video, listen to certain words. There's certain trigger words inside of this video that they're using, and they're telling us, you know, like if you study certain stuff and you listen to certain stuff, they're telling you. You just got to open your eyes. End of the day, they saw the potential that these young brothers had. They let them build it up, and when it was nice and ripe and ripe for the plucking, they got them all, threw them in jail or killed them or did whatever they were going to do, disbanded them, burnt them or whatever. Y se quedaron con el dinero. And then they stayed with all the proceeds and the resources. Okay. So if you guys want to get down like that, then go ahead. I already been there, done that. I'm all right. I'm a pass. But anyway, I just put this video together real quick of the old way, because the other one had bad mics and too bassy, and I don't know, I wasn't doing it right or whatever. And the mics on this iPad is way better than the computer mic. It kind of sucks. Anyway, this is gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope some of this information that I said in this video is helpful to some of you. Oh, and just this, let me just give you this PS before I go. My videos are kind of blah. They're not really that super informative, and there's a reason for that. It's not that I'm sorry and I don't know what to do. If I was really to let go and really tell you guys the truth, you wouldn't even be able to watch the video because I'm censored heavily on YouTube. Because every time I upload, it gets a view right away, which means that the YouTube autos are watching and hearing what I'm saying. And then if they don't like what I'm saying, then they automatically, it's controversial, and then they cut me off, and then you guys can't watch it. That's why I'm kind of keeping it like ho-hum, kind of stupid. So I'm just giving you guys heads up, because if I really want to lay it down, I could really lay it down, but you guys won't even be able to watch it. Anyway, I'm still working on my presentation. Maybe I got to work on my presentation and be more clever about things. But since I'm a real guy, I don't know. Since I'm real talk, I don't know how to sugarcoat it, you know. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this video for now. And I'm going to catch up with you guys next time.